can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? We're breaking down some FA Cup action. The mighty Reds of Manchester head to Wigan Athletic and get a solid result. 2-0 win against lowly Wigan. But clean sheet. Some of the lads, especially the youngsters, shined. Obviously, it should have been a lot more, actually. It's the first game we've edged the team in XG in a while. But Kobe, I think the big story of today was Kobe Mainoo. Baller. And obviously, this is one of the lower teams he's played for Manchester United's first team. But he looked a class ahead of the rest of the players on the pitch. But either way, good win. Not perfect. Definitely could deserve more goals in that first half. But we got to win. We're on to the next round of the FA Cup, the fourth round. We've drawn two teams I've never heard of. We're getting one of the two away. How we feeling? How we doing?
Look, it's a win. A win is a win. A away win at that, too, against the mighty Wigan. Obviously, we're talking League One. It's a third round proper with a powerful starting 11 from the manager. You have to say, I thought Bayendir might come in. I thought you might see some youth. It is the third round. It is a League One team. But we're going all strength against them. And look, we can ball out against a poorly placed League One team. Yes, that is true. I would expect that from Manchester United's best 11 that we could field.
Not happy. This guy's not happy.
How's it not happy? We balled out. I
could hear the sarcasm like steaming off your forehead, sir. Yeah, United. We played a team that, probably even though we bought Garnacho for $400K from where? Atletico. Their whole team probably cost that. And you know what? You can only play the team in front of you. So we won. We should have scored more goals, but they had one big chance in the first. They had one big chance in the second. But United got a win. The players balled. I was a little disappointed to see some of the players in. Bayendir, I think, was the one that you mentioned, but Onana did come up with a big save in the third minute. And when you look at the bench, there wasn't a lot of room to tinker because we had Scott McSauce in midfield again. But the positives are Kobe Mainoo is a player. He's 18 years old and looks leagues ahead of his maturity in terms of an age perspective. I thought Garnacho had a terrific game. Højlund should have scored. This is probably one of the first games where it's like Højlund has to score. He probably could have had a brace in this game. And that hasn't been the story of this season, right? He's gotten nowhere near enough service. Young lad, huge price tag put on his head, and expected to score all the goals for Manchester United, at least from a striker perspective. And today was the first one where it's like he should have got one or two, especially against a Wigan Wanderer side or a Wigan Athletic. But there you go.
Yeah, again, I'm not sarcastic. I'm just trying to I'm calling balls and strikes here
balls
on
and
the
strikes.
podcast. And here's the deal. When the numpties are getting over their skis, I'm just saying, hey, you know what this is? This is us beating Wigan. And you know what? I would say away, not easy. It was a nice environment today. But we did play well against a poor side and 18th in League One. You have to say that. So to get excited about what this is going to mean for us in the league, who knows? But I mean, from a mojo perspective, on to the fourth round proper, we got another great draw. So this FA Cup road is now opening up. It's going to heat up. We have that game coming up here in the 27th of January. Obviously, they're just going to schedule the games across a couple of days. But we have Newport County or Eastleigh. Newport County,
who you
don't
want?
even know.
Who you want?
They play in League Two. And Eastleigh competes in the National League 5th level.
So you're saying we got a chance? You're saying mighty Manchester United has a chance against either opponent?
So I would take Eastleigh at the Silver Lake Stadium that seats 2,700, and they have about 2,000. Capacity is 5,000, but only 2,700 seats. So I don't know what that means. Regardless, this is why the FA Cup is such a great competition. and one that we should be thinking about not having so much misery. It's been a rough year, and this could be a bright spot. But to get all like juiced up, like we're back, baby, with this Wigan performance. Again, look at the team we played. Way too strong for this level of competition, in my opinion, which means the manager's playing survivor football. And then look at the chance that we conceded coming out of the gate, which again is the same thing we've seen over and over. And if Wigan's doing it, better teams are going to be doing it, and we're going to have better teams that are going to play in the league. So the same ailments continue for United, but a great team performance, great win. Captain gets the penalty, so let's go.
Yeah, I don't know who's getting that excited. It's just that we've had a lot of dog shit football to eat over the last 6 months, and I enjoy not losing to Wigan. You know, like how would that be?
We weren't going to lose.
Yeah,
I didn't predict. I said we'd win.
I said we'd lose, and you know what? This Manchester United side, we could always lose. And at the same time, who would you have played differently other than Bayern Deer? Like, you know, the Kamwala, who's 19 years old, over Evans, maybe.
Yes.
No,
absolutely.
you go for a win.
Yes.
We're fighting for our life. The manager's fighting for our life. Our team is fighting for our life. We got new partial ownership on the football inside. You go to win, and we have so few games that like the games that we are playing matter, even if you're playing a shit side like Wigan. So, hey, agree to disagree.
I don't know if that's the. I actually think if you're managing a squad in this club, like not playing Bayern Deer at all before,
that's a mistake.
You're going to have
agree.
to play him and put him in the Premier League, and he's never played with his back line in a game, and like that is the decision that the manager has made when there's ample opportunities to play him. I disagree with that. I mean, that's just bad.
And that's the only one.
And
That's
guess what?
That's one position. One position.
But that's a big one because at the end of the day, he's coming in because of AFCON. If Onana wasn't going to AFCON, then I would totally agree. But the fact that Bayern Deer is going to come into the EPL when you could have given him an easy warm-up versus Wigan, that to me is a little questionable because of what's to come, right? That one I disagree with.
I agree with you at the beginning of the show. I think that's the only one that would make sense. But like, you know, they're doing all this switcheroo. He's doing negotiating with his own FA, and apparently Onana's flying out the night after we play Spurs. This upcoming Sunday. So whatever, it's a win. I'm going to enjoy a win while we can enjoy a win. We should have beaten the crap out of them. We should have scored like 5 goals in this game, but that's been the story of the season. When we do create XG, we don't convert XG. And
exactly.
I don't disagree with the Bayern Deer because you know what? You signed him. He looks actually a talented lad. One of the few cheap signings we've made that's not a loan deal or a free signing. And I was looking forward to seeing him. But you know what? You throw him in, he gets that 3rd-minute chance. He doesn't save it. All of a sudden, you're in a sticky situation. So it cuts both ways. Most importantly, we're on to the next round. We've got a good draw. We've got basically 6 days until our next game. It's a big one. It's against Spurs. We're going to get you the preview in a couple days from now. But let's just enjoy the win, sir. And a clean sheet to boot.
Hey, you know what? Quick PSA for the podcast. You like the America Red Devils. You like the back and forth between me and Alex. We're 100% fan-backed. The best way to support us is Patreon, patreon.com/America Red Devils. Check it out. Tons of benefits, including a behind-the-scenes episode every single month. If Patreon's not your thing, check out our store, AmericanRedDevils.store. Scarves, stickers, beanies, hoodies, shirts, you name it. It's all there for the Muppet. You like the Muppet Take, grab some merch. AmericaDevils.com got some great blog content humming, sir. We have a new article up titled Manchester United's season is not over yet. If you're a real Muppet,
Hopium,
you need
baby!
content like that. You need the hopium that the fans are dishing out. So, you know, there we go. Shout out to Keegan for the great article.
Shout out to Keegan, indeed. Thank you to all the great contributors to the blog. Another great way to support the America Red Devils podcast, beyond the ways that John mentioned, in terms of joining Patreon, in terms of buying merch, is write 5-star reviews. 5-star reviews on iTunes or Spotify. They go a long way in helping us get found by other top Muppets like yourself. And we're giving away free merch, free ARD design merch right to your door anywhere in the world. All you got to do, write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to americadeals@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick back and ship a free ARD item and send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great one from Vad Hatter do the best and most fun analysis of the Manchester United situation on and off the field. Here's the skinny. There's quite a few Manchester United podcasts, but these guys have the best banter. They pop them out the fastest, and to be honest, they actually have the most sound analysis of the entire situation at Manchester United on and off the pitch. I appreciate what you two do. Glory, glory, Man United. Thank you, Vad. Thank you to everyone writing these 5-star reviews. We appreciate it. Sir, let's get into that FA Cup third round tie.
All right, we're talking Wigan 0, Manchester United 2, FA Cup third round. Let's get into that lineup. We had Onana in net, Delo, Evans, Ron, Wan-Bissaka, Mainu, McTominay, Rashford, Bruno in the hole, Garnacho on the right, and Højlund up top. What are you thinking of this 11?
You know, I was happy you went for strength. I don't think you have much margin of error given how poor we've been this season to kind of chance it. The two ones that shouted out to me are Bayern Deer, where you at, lad? I agreed with you. Look, sir, I'm agreeing with you on that one. And then I was nervous to see McSauce because I don't think we need him in that 11 when you have everyone fit or even not fit. So I was like, he's not starting McTominay over Eriksen, is he? Then I saw the bench. More injuries, more illnesses. So Ahmad was unavailable. Eriksen was unavailable. There goes McSauce. So that kind of answered my question. But what did you think when you saw this 11?
I thought it was a very strong 11 for the stage of the competition that we're in. Like I said, I like to see some more youth. I like to see some squad, some people getting chances that, Hannibal, great example of a player who should be out there. Palestri, another great example. This guy says no one's on the bench. Bayern Deer, like I said, and Kumbwala. This is the level that these guys, if you watch Sir Alex, you watch anyone has a project, building a team, that's how you get these guys game time. That's how you get them chemistry so that when injuries do happen, you're easing them in. It's not like you're going to be throwing Bayern Deer into the hot water like he's going to go into in the league. So we'll see how it plays out over the long term, but a little bit of a survival football from the manager. Big, strong 11 against Wigan. It's kind of a mismatch for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do a project when your job is on the line. So I could see if
you play a different. Yeah, you're playing
to win. You're playing to stay alive.
The manager is playing for himself. Yes, that it's not. It's a different game. And
this big thing, like he played a 18-year-old in midfield. He played a 19-year-old on the wing, and he played a 20-year-old up front. So I agree. You don't get everything.
70 million pound 20-year-old.
Yeah, the other two I referenced. How much do they cost?
But they're starters. I mean, like it's the other guys. So Sir Alex Ferguson was wrong by rotating youth into like early stages.
Sir Alex Ferguson was a made fucking man, bro. Sir Alex Ferguson could have gotten he had already won 2 Champions Leagues. He'd already won.
Point taken.
I'm just saying he wasn't
hey guy.
I mean, I guess you're right.
Oh,
hey man. Hey, I mean, 1990.
Hey guy. All right, guy.
When he was playing for his life and he was like close to the sack.
Hey, Palestri, he needs a game animal. Give him some minutes. Hey, come on, spread the love. Let's go. I want to see the youth out there. That's what this is all about. Come on, Tommy Cutlets. Let's go.
Tommy Cutlets.
Let's get in that match.
Let's get in that match.
First half, sir. Break it down.
Big early chance for Wigan, but otherwise United were in control. But we talked about our big chance. United caught on the break. Big save from Onana. He actually comes out well. Early.
Cooked at Wigan.
We saved it. I mean, what are you talking about, sir? This guy's
they ripped us. Like, are you kidding me? This was like, I was like, you turn on the game, and I'm like a word beaten Wigan guy, and then this happens. I'm like, oh my god. Again, we're just conceding these chances. The switch is on at the back line. This continues to be an issue for United. And look, obviously, it didn't matter this game. We're the much better side. But you hate to see us conceding these big chances.
I don't disagree, but there were a limited number of chances, but there were 2 big ones, one in the first half, one in the second. I mean, all of the issues, just about, in different degrees of severity, have been shown this season in this game, right? Not converting chances, giving up big opportunities, not playing out a full 90 minutes. So, like, we dominated them. We should have won 5-1, 5-0, but we still have these issues, and even when you're playing a team much your inferior, they come through. So let's talk about the positive. It was more United in the rest of the first half. Rashford in the 14th minute with a nice cutback. It was a well-saved shot from their keeper. 20th minute, great chance for McSauce. He sliced it just wide from a header. And then in the 22nd minute, Filling a left back today, Sir Diogo Dalot.
Garnacho in. Holland unable to connect. There's Rashford. Blocked by Claire. Dalot. He'll try and curl one, which he does sweetly and successfully.
Diogo Dalot, goal scorer we needed today, stepping up. Hey, United at this point putting a lot of pressure on the minnows they were playing, but Diogo Dalot showed a little composure. Nice curler from the edge of the box. Nice goal from the Portuguese lad. He decent finish. He scored a couple good goals this season.
And you know what? Good layoff by Marcus Rashford here. You know, I feel like Rashford's been a little selfish lately, but he's unselfish. Lays it to Dalot, curls it. Love to see it. United go ahead. I would have liked to see us, continue to get more goals in the first half. We created a lot of chances, sir. 29th minute, great chance for Højlund. Blast it over with a header. He attacked the hell out of this one.
He did.
Close from the Dane. 36th minute, Rashford with a nice rip. Højlund should get the rebound, but he can't get there, sir. Got to do better.
That was the one. That was the one. The header.
Sir.
How much did he cost? The Højlund, the header one was tough because he was moving a lot, and the ball came in with this one, the 36th minute. It was like almost like he just had a brain fart. I don't know. That's not a technical term, but I think you be scoring that. And I know you've often said you be scoring X, Y, Z, but actually in this situation, John's burying that home, baby. And I'll tell you what, you're going to be celebrating like you scored against City, so you don't care if it's a Wigan.
No, I would not. But at the end of the day, he's a young, unpolished diamond in the rough, sir. It's like, we have to give him time. I'm not killing Højlund on any of these missed chances. We won, and he's getting experience. That's what he needs.
100%. Last big chance of the half, Garnacho hit the crossbar with actually a very nice curler. He looked effective once again from the right. He put in a bunch of good balls. That headed chance we talked about with Højlund actually came in from a Garnacho in swinging cross. So what'd you think about that half of football, sir? Or are you saying to the manager in the second half?
Look, to me, this kind of we should be up. We are not converting our chances, and we conceded a big one. So let's go out and smash them. You got to put the game away. Put the game away. Take it by the scruff of the neck, put it away. That's what we need to do.
100%. It was the same story. United dominant, not quite as dominant as the first half, solid, but they still gave a big chance. We'll talk about that in a second. 62nd minute, nice driven shot by Mainu, well saved, and the goalkeeper pushed it out. This is the big one. 67th minute, United get broken on, just like they did in the first half, but Mainu comes back with a big tackle, showing his maturity. Obviously, this is one of the lower teams he's played against, being in the United first team, but he looked the best midfielder on the field. He looked the best player on the field. I thought he was outrageous today.
Unbelievable tackle from Mainu. But sir, let's get to the pen.
74th minute, Penchester United.
Bruno Fernandes. Penalty. And this could be the route to confirm victory for Manchester United.
The Wigan players aren't convinced. There's the challenge. Bruno Fernandes threatens to shoot with his right foot. There's the connection. Sure he needs to go down. Sure the player that slid in.
Reminder, no VAR. So the referee says the time of the incident stands unchallenged.
It's a good bit of skill from Bruno Fernandes, because I made sure think he was going to shoot with his right foot. Shaw lunges in, he chops it back across him. Could have probably stayed on his feet, but there was contact. Shake of the head from Bruno Fernandes. He's now got to concentrate and focus on scoring.
Well, of 31 penalties that he's taken for Manchester United, he's scored 27.
There's a little jump.
penalty he took against Chelsea was saved. Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United lead 2-0. And on all the available evidence, that should be enough to see them through to round 4.
There we go. Was it soft? Absolutely. Was it a penalty? All day. So Bruno making the most of it, but most importantly, slots it home. And like you said, it was nervous up until this moment, but once we got our second goal, you felt like we'd hold on to it, didn't you?
I did. Great penalty from Bruno. I think ultimately calm, cool, collected from the United captain. We go up 2-0, sir. I think this was the end of the game, really. 81st, Rashford had a chance. 82nd, Garnacho with a great shot. Kambala did come on in the 83rd, and then Facundo did come on. So, sort of those kids getting some minutes. And then in the 92nd, we had a double sub, Hannibal and Forson for Højlund and Rashford. Again, those are the types of, sprinkle in some starters there. Maybe a Kambala, a Facundo probably satisfies me, but they did come on, get about 10 minutes of running around, sir. I could use 10 minutes of running around for Manchester United.
You would do the badge proud, sir. But that's it. That's all she wrote. Wigan 0, United 2. Match reaction. Let's talk about some stats. XG, Wigan had 1.02 to United's 4.26. So finally get some XG, but still big issue is conversion. Our conversion rate, even when we do create, is not nearly good enough.
And 1 point on the XG, looking at XG over the course of the match, since the Garnacho chance in the 40th minute, we didn't create much at all aside from the penalty. So you want to know that United have a great first half, create about 3 XG, and the penalty is worth about 0.9, right? So at the end of the day, the second half was pretty lackluster from an attacking chance creating perspective, right? We need to go. We need to kill the game. We have to force the issue. We want to score 3. We want to score 4 in the second half. United not a lot doing from an attacking perspective, and this is against a bad team in League One. Great first half, but that second half, we didn't create a lot, and we needed to. The penalty obviously helped us kill the game. We get the clean sheet thanks to Onana staying and not going to AFCON, but just something to highlight that the XG came 90% of it in the first half outside the penalty.
No, and the open play, that's a fair point. And, even with a solid result, problems persist. And it's the same problems we've seen. It's injuries, inconsistent performances, lack of finishing, lack of playing out a match. But ultimately, United get a win, and you're going to have a lot to think about before we play a much better team on Sunday in the Aussies Spurs. Let's talk about stats. It was Wigan with 9 shots, United had 33. Wigan had 2 shots on target, but both those opportunities were pretty big. 14 shots on target for United. We had 2/3 of the ball, 67% to their 33%, excuse me. We had 12 corners to their 2. Our corners still leave a lot to be desired. And like you said, we will either travel to League 2 Newport County or non-league Eastleigh in round 4 proper. I believe it's slated as the 27th. So that's going to be after Spurs on Sunday. That's going to be the next game between now and the end of January.
Look, not a lot doing for United in January, but I feel like, hey, John, you're being harsh on the team. You play a League One team. I think that's the time to kind of nitpick a little bit. We hit 4 XG against Spurs. Not going to nitpick. Win or lose. You lose and you have 4 XG. You dominate the game. I've got nothing to say. It's just I think in these types of games, the only lens you got to be looking at it through is what does this mean for the league? What does this mean if we get later in the FA Cup? We've been struggling. Are we addressing these issues? What direction are we headed, sir? And unfortunately, I just feel like some of the same problems are persisting. But what do we know, sir? Let's check in with the man of the moment, the manager.
Here comes Erik ten Hag.
First, the win. It's football. It's all about the win. But I think first half, the way we played the performance, with how we worked the ball, how we made our runs, the investment in the final third, and created lots of chances. That was pleasing to see.
Is it just, I suppose the only pity for us tonight is that you didn't score more goals given the number of chances that you had?
No, I agree. I think we should have scored more. But the good thing is we created the chances.
Went strong as possible, I think, for your team. Thought behind that was just to make sure you won the game convincingly.
Yeah, I would say we have so many injuries and illnesses, but still we can put out a strong side, yeah. And I think, yeah, we had a good team, and so we were confident before we must win this game. And so you would never underestimate any opponent, definitely not this side. You know they will fight for their life because it's the game of their life. And I think we took the game very good.
But with the injuries and illnesses,
There you go, sir. You know, classic Erik ten Hag answer. Good in the first half, not as much in the second. Should have taken our chances. Defends the strong side. There you go. On to the next one, sir. It's all going to be about Sunday because, like you said, it's important to stay up in the FA Cup. No one's giving you credit for beating Wigan. The issues that we've talked about all season persist. I'm not going to argue that. Like I said, that all the issues we've seen with different degrees of severity, whether it's injuries, conversion, ability to play a full 90 minutes, individual errors, they all showed their face today. Just maybe we had an opponent that wasn't as able to take advantage of those mistakes. But either way, hey, you're only as good as your last match, and thankfully we started 2024 with a victory and a clean sheet, so I'll take it.
Just to give you the counterbalance.
More cold water. Here we go.
Huddersfield in the championship, City smoked 5-0. So just giving you the just giving you the bar.
So you're
where we aspire to be.
Your hot take is City is better than us.
I said that's where we want to be, right? Winning leagues, you know.
Yes, but they are a far superior team than we are. So yeah.
Yes, they are. Unfortunately, and I'm sure that was not a full strength starting 11, but I'm not going to dig that far into that. Look, another quote from the manager today. Wanted to get your take here. He said, "We still have the Premier League, so we have 2 trophies to play for. We will play for the Premier League and for the FA Cup." What do you make of the manager talking trophies, talking, I guess, winning the Premier League at this stage right now?
I mean, come on, sir. This is fucking mate. It's like he's a madman. It's like for good or for bad, whether you like him or don't like him, we could all agree is that Erik ten Hag is a fucking lunatic. Stubborn bastard, lunatic. And you know what? He's not technically wrong. You know, like crazier things. I don't think anyone's come back from 11 points down halfway through the season. I have no idea. Maybe in the 150-year history of top-flight football. But sure. It's some of the FA Cup. It's about finishing the top 4. We have the league to play for in the sense that we could, like, our position is not set. We could still finish the top 4 if we go on a run.
No, he said to win.
I know what he said. I know exactly. I know exactly what he said.
Sir,
yes, we can win 21.
I'm trying to, don't need to.
I think he's being.
You're raising the. No, it's
I'm
like
not.
here we go. I'm making a point about winning the league, right? So the manager, he brought it up.
Should that not be our goal? So what do you think? Give me your take, sir.
So I'm just trying to say the manager says we're in to win the Premier League. I think that's an interesting thing. I think it's a very. I'll tell you, that's when we're trying to define what Dutch confidence is.
That's it.
We're getting close.
That's it.
Because no manager is like on the ropes, like dodging punches, like, back and forth, is going to be talking about winning the Premier League. If you put $1,000 on Manchester United to win the Premier League right now, how much money would you get paid out by the bookmakers?
I believe last time we checked, it was 100 to 1. Am I right? So we'd win 100.
You would get $500,000.
500 to 1?
500,000. 500 to 1.
We should put $100 on it then.
That's Dutch confidence. Is all I'm going to say.
Well,
so
you can never fault them for having a lack of self-belief. So for all his
the
faults,
manager saying that you have to talk about. I think that's a little like. I think he should be. If he said we have to make top 4, we're going to make a push for top 4. So like that is totally like down the fairway. Like absolutely rally the troops. Top 4. Let's go. To say we're going to win the Premier League.
He's not saying we were going to win the Premier League. He says we're going to try and win the Premier League, which is different. And
we have 2 trophies to play for, which means like
wrong.
talking to. He said, "Yes, but like the whole, like, obviously everyone dissects what people say, but you're not mentioning I have a trophy to play for. Like, you're not going to win it, right? So it's like saying if you said we still have the Premier League, we're really going to be focused on the league. We got to do everything we can to finish as best we can, right? If you said that, I would not have any. We would not be talking about anything. He said there's a trophy there, which means you have to finish first, and to finish first is 500 to 1. To finish in top 4, odds are much better, right? So I just think I'm trying to put that quote into perspective, which I just think that was a little surprising to hear from the manager.
Equally surprised. Equally
To
surprised.
say we're going to go for the FA Cup and finish in top 4 and say that's what we're going to put the flag down on, as much as I hate that is what we should be doing. That I think there's nobody who would disagree with it, but to say, like, to talk about the Premier League and talk about the Premier League trophy is just like, that's Dutch confidence, my man.
I think it's much ado about nothing, but either way, yeah, he's
our
a
manager's
certain type of
saying
breed.
it, so
is it better to say that than to be like, oh, we want to be where City is? Like, he's
eventually, eventually we want to be.
Remember how David Moyes came in and he was dead from day one because he didn't know how to talk the talk, and it's like there's a lot wrong with Eric Ten Hag. Stubborn as shit. Made some poor signings. Stubborn.
Yeah,
but hold on, if I may. Our targets are to win the league, and even if we're definitely not going to win the league and probably not going to finish in top 4, and he's probably going to get fired in this calendar year, so what?
Sure, it's just like, it's the European dissect the manager's words thing, because like before the season started, he was like kind of wishy-washy on like committing to like top 4, and then like now we're like back against the wall. He's like talking about the Premier League trophy. Anytime the United manager talks about expectations, or like, first of all, you should never do that, right? Like, you should just always just say nothing like they do in the NFL. Just be like, we fought hard, we're trying our best, and we're going to do as best we can, right? That's like all he should say. And so anytime you kind of set the tone, I'm like, if he says we're going to make top 4, then everyone's going to be like, oh, we're not a top 4 club. If he says we're going to win the Premier League, everyone's going to say you're crazy. So I think the rule is just like, don't say anything, right?
I think that's a general, like, he could learn a lot.
He's saying
from
a
that.
lot, though.
Say less.
Yes, exactly. I think you should say less. I mean,
he's like interviewed all the time. Before, you just say nothing. It's like, you can't really say nothing, but I hear you. Either way, he's in an impossible position, because people are dissecting what he says. Let's get some news.
United in the news. Sir, give us our top articles here.
Ooh, we got more. We got a lot going on. First and foremost, Dan Ashworth, the signing. John and I think we agree on this. We want the most of anybody. Forget Mbappe. Forget Jude Bellingham or his brother Job. I want Dan, 52-year-old Ashworth, and his old man knees. Reluctant to go to Manchester United. This is what Miguel Delaney is saying out of ESPN. Due to the scope of his role at Newcastle, Manchester United would have to go very high with a financial offer and well-defined terms to tempt him. So we can talk about that first. That's kind of like, we're not hearing anything concrete. Like, we've been hearing positive news. This is probably the first cold water I've heard of the Dan Ashworth story in the last month. But either way, we have no real updates or any thoughts on Dan Ashworth.
We got the tea leaves about Dan Ashworth.
You got it?
All of it. Yeah, I got it.
Talk to me.
All this says, like, Miguel Delaney is basically like, I can translate. It says Dan Ashworth currently reluctant to go to United due to the scope of his role at Newcastle. That's like such a general bluff.
It says nothing.
And it says Manchester United would have to pay lots of money.
Lots of money.
Show me the money, baby. That's what Dan Ashworth saying. Show me the money. Pay me like I'm number one, and I'll come make you number one. Let's go, Dan Ashworth. Pay this man. Show him the money. Let's overpay front office people, not players on the pitch. Need my boy Dan. Let's go.
I fucking love that, because it's like, we've been paying so many dog shit players so much money for the last decade. It's like, make him the highest paid technical director in the world, or at least in England. Like, just make him the man. Because you're right. It's like, we've been overpaying in all the wrong places. We're paying Jadon Sancho $18 million a year to go play in Dortmund. It's like, but I don't know what a normal technical director makes, a couple million a year. I know a coach usually makes 10, the 12 to 15, depending on the coach in the EPL, maybe a little bit less from the lower teams. I don't know what a technical director makes, but it can't be that much, given how much money we make and how vital this role is, given how much a mess the front office is, which brings into the next story. This name was mentioned, and he's also in the stands today at the Wigan Stadium. Ineos set to approach Sir Alex Ferguson's CEO for talks. So David Gill, former CEO of Manchester United, who was then superseded by the famous Ed Woodward, is apparently in the fold, being consulted by Ratcliffe & Co. What are your thoughts on this move, sir?
Look, the photo from the stands, you saw David Gill, you saw Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc. Everyone was there. I think Gill would be maybe a consultant in some way, right? They'd bring him in just because he knows how everything, obviously when United was at its best, he was a part of it. But I still think our boy Jean-Claude, the jump man, will probably be running things. But it's interesting. It's a lot of, hey, the only thing I can complain about is they're going to stand next to John Murtaugh. That's the only thing I can complain about. They're there. They got all the good guys there. But again, Sir Alex has been in the stands the whole time too. He's been, on the payroll for the Glazers and trying to help Ed Woodward, et cetera. And obviously we know how that goes. So temper expectations, but for me, it's all about Ashworth.
No, I agree. I think there'd be value to have David Gill as a consultant, like you said. But anyone sitting in the stands doesn't really matter. It's about who's in the front office making the decisions.
It was done a different way. It was a different game when he ran it.
And that only worked with Fergie. It's I don't even know if you left David Gill. I'm sure things would have been better than Ed Woodward, but there's no guarantee of success because, there's the old guard, new guard, and the game has changed a lot in the last 10, 11 years. So, hey, it's good to get perspectives. I like that about Ratcliffe. He seems to be talking to a lot of different types of people, bringing in a kitchen cabinet of folks and their background, right? Not just going English with the Jean-Claude Blanc appointment. So, hey, we'll see.
Next article here.
All right, we're hearing conflicting news on contract renewals. One camp is saying that Ratcliffe wants to get rid of all the big money, old guy signings, i.e. Varane, Casemiro, forget Jadon Sancho, forget Martial, but those two guys. Now we're hearing from Dawson at ESPN that he actually that Ten Hag wants to keep Varane and Casemiro for the remainder of the season at least, and maybe even beyond.
How are they conflicting? It says the ownership wants to get rid of him and Ten Hag wants to keep him. That seems...
Well, they are conflicting. One wants one.
Well, the manager wants something different than the new owners. Yes, that's what I think, right?
So what's your position on this?
The contract's got to go. So unless they want to re-sign a new deal that's cheaper, then you got to get them off the books as soon as possible. That will hurt us on the pitch. Right now, the new owners don't care about that because they're trying to manage the wage bill, trying to manage cash flow. Like we talked about, this is a rebuild. This is a gut it out from the bottom, cut it to the bone. It's going to hurt. But again, you're going to be seeing a lot of these guys go, and you're going to have to wage kind of contract wars with Varane and Casemiro, unfortunately. But again, Casemiro hasn't played it all this year, and when he has played, he has there are a few games he looked good, but it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money that he's on, and you think about that over the long term. And if Saudi's interested, how can you say no?
No, especially if they're going to be willing to A, pick up his contract, and B, pay you something after you paid so much money. We paid so much money for him the summer before last. So this will be an
$65 million.
We paid 70 million fucking pounds for a 30-year-old, bro, in the last year of his contract. It's that's a Manchester United. He was lights out.
He was unbelievable.
No, and he will be unbelievable.
I love Casemiro.
No, so do I, dude. He's a player.
He
but we still overpaid.
I'll tell you what. There was a period of time that we had the best midfield in the English Premier League last year, before January. Eriksen, Bruno, Casemiro ran the shop, and it was unbelievable, and it worked, and it fell apart. And it's not back together. The band, it's not gotten back together, and they probably aren't getting back together, and it just sucks because I wish, that really should be the starting midfield at United, and obviously Eriksen faded, and then we got him Mount, but then Mason Mount. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
How long did you eat that out for?
Next, Mason Mount, number one Mason Mount fan. He's got the steez. He's got the look.
You
He's
know
got
that.
the cut.
You know
He's got
that.
the flat brim.
He
He's got
does.
the New York Yankees.
He does have the
shouting
New
out
York Yankees
pod.
gear. He's got the Yankees
He
gear.
loves the Yankees
does.
gear. That's because I told him he listens to the pod. Yeah.
Honestly, I'd go eat some pizza in Manhattan
Exactly.
with Mason Mount.
Exactly.
He's probably a fun
Mason
guy to
Mount,
hang out. He's
hey,
just like a
hit
nice
us
kid.
up. We'll show you around. Regardless, none of this bad voodoo season's on him because he ain't played.
There you go.
Like Mason Mount has no mud on
It's
his
true.
fresh.
He's played as
New
much
York
as Bayern. He's
Yankees
played as much as Bayern
varsity
beer, dude.
jacket. Exactly.
Well, that'd be interesting to watch. I agree. It's like the manager ain't in charge no more. That's the deal. No more. He used to be. A month ago he was. Now he's not.
But why is he complaining in the
No,
press?
but will they push
Ten
him?
Hag's
Well,
fighting
hold on
in
a
the
second.
press
Will
a
they
little
push
bit.
them out? He didn't complain in the press. This is like ESPN, bro. It's barely a news source. Varane and Casemiro, do they get pushed out in January? Or they get pushed out in the summer? Because like I agree.
It's opportunistic. It's opportunistic. It's not based on what we want. It's based on what other people like. We're shopping, and whatever happens, happens. It's not like.
Well, there you go. I heard
there's
Jordan
demand.
Henderson's trying to get out of Saudi Arabia, so maybe Casemiro can take a spot.
That is the funniest story. I was actually.
I didn't include that one. We can
bro,
talk about
like,
it.
I
know,
can't.
you're like,
Yeah.
chop at the bit.
Let's get through the United
Okay.
news and I'll dance on that grave.
Next
Let's go.
up. He's coming back. By the way, he's going to come back, and then the EPFA, I already know. I can see it now. It's like BBC Sports.
No, it just
Talks,
don't worry. Just
they're all going to be like,
okay,
they're going to act like it never happened. Next bit of news is United is not planning on offering Martial any kind of new contract, even at a lower fee. So sayonara to, and this is the right move. We talked about it last pod, even on a cheap deal. It's like he's available half the season, and when he is, he just doesn't look the same player that he looked even 5 years ago. He doesn't have the dynamic. He can't run. He can't press.
Sir, you need warm bodies that can stand
Wild
upright.
Weghorst was a warm body, bro.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so who's gonna replace Tony Martial? Is it gonna be
Ivan Toney?
Osimhen? Is it gonna be Osimhen?
No, it's not.
Or is it gonna be Wout Weghorst 2.0? It's gonna be Wout Weghorst 2.0, and then me probably as a third string striker. Like it's gonna be bad. So like all I was saying on the last pod is like, yes, Martial should go. I killed the guy when he went to Sevilla. I killed the Glazers and Murtaugh when they brought him back. He should be gone. But at the end of the day, it's like we need like 4 strikers on the bench, and if he's number 4 in the line, I wouldn't complain. But it just adds to the work we need to do. We just got to stop the bleeding right now. So it is good news to move off of them, but be careful what you wish for, because who are we going to get to replace them? And that's really the issue. It's like when we got rid of Ronaldo, it's like we got Wout Weghorst. Obviously, there's reasons to get rid of Ronaldo, but we don't have replacements coming in. So it's like, be careful what you wish for until you get the next guy.
Last bit of news on United front I agree, sir. That's a good point. Because we don't know who's getting replaced. Facundo, either going on loan in Europe or this is the worst one, being sold to the States. That can't happen. LA Galaxy want a full-time deal, but also PSV Eindhoven are looking to do a loan deal. What are your thoughts on our young Uruguayan?
We're ruining the kid. Absolutely ruining the kid. If he doesn't get a start today, that's why I moaned about it. It's like you got to start the kid because he's going to leave, right? The problem is we have all these players that we paid money for. Every time I see him, he looks electric. He can't get minutes. He needs to get minutes. He's going to be dissatisfied. That's why we're seeing this permanent deal, most likely. So, again, I just think we're ruining this kid. He will go somewhere. I don't know if he's going to be an amazing talent, but from what I've seen from him, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want to sell him, honestly. I just need to play him a little more, like FA Cup. EFL Cup, obviously we're out of it, but those types of competitions would be perfect for him.
No, he hasn't gotten nearly enough minutes since he signed, to be honest. So I agree. It's like we've done this with player after player after player. He's the same about Ahmad. We're all hoping that will turn out well, but at the end of the day, it's like we have this tendency to just loan to nowhere. It's like none of our loans really ever work out.
Tahith Chong, another great example.
Yeah, but Chong, I don't think he has the talent even that Palestri has. I think he should be sold.
We loaned him to nowhere. I'm
talking about all these players. Sevilla loans. We shouldn't send anyone to Sevilla. How has any loan to Sevilla gone well for us in the last 10 years? No loans have really. So I think for his own sake, because I like Facundo Palestri, I agree with you. He should have gotten far more minutes this season, last season. he deserves to be sold for his own sake. It's like, let him have a nice career. I think he'll have a decent little career. He's a good kid. Every time we've heard
Dude,
him
he
interview,
reminds me of Messi, dude.
Messi.
Like, he reminds me of Messi, the way, like, just like his movement, how fast he is, how small he is. I mean, he's not going to be like Messi at all, but just like his style of play is very interesting. How he cuts inside. I think he's like a scrappy, perfect backup winger. Like if Ahmad's the man, Anthony's the bluffer. You get rid of him. I like him on the bench. My point about Chong is all we did was just loan. You got to loan him, and then you got to, when he's not on loan like now, you got to integrate him in the squad and see if he can work. And if he doesn't work, you sell him. But I feel like we haven't done either, and so sending him out on loan again, just the cycle is just, it's mashed potatoes, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, like, I would just sell it. You're not going to do this because they don't want to take that L on the old P&L balance sheet, but I would sell Anthony for whatever you can get, but you get like nothing. You get like,
yeah, I would
12
prefer
million.
to sell Anthony and keep
Ahmad,
Facundo.
keep
Yes.
Facundo. You have Garnacho and you have Rashford, and then whoever's next in the academy, and maybe sign some like cheap players actually and go back to basics. But I would get rid of Anthony, given he's been such a letdown and such a disaster.
Loan him to Sevilla.
Yeah,
Loan him to
Sevilla. Sell him to LA Galaxy.
So I'd loan him to, if I was the director of football, I'd loan him to FC Cincinnati, bro.
There you go, bro. Speaking of FC Cincinnati, let's talk about the Jordan Henderson news, because that is amazing. It's not even, he didn't even make it 6 months.
We got to talk about Sancho, Jadon Sancho.
Dragon.
It's Dortmund's getting closer. We'll keep you posted there, but you gotta. I'm surprised how much people care about what's going on with Jadon Sancho. Like, I'm literally amazed how many people, like I like go on Twitter. I'm like, why does anyone care about Jadon Sancho? Like, I just don't understand. People are interested in him, so that's really. Like I said, he should go to Dortmund. We need him to ball out when he goes to Dortmund, so someone else will pay a lot of money for him. Like, that's what you need. You need to basically. If he goes to Dortmund and is a flop, then we're screwed. We will get nothing.
Which will happen.
He's on a big contract.
I'm pretty certain that he will be an absolute dud because he's.
We'll see.
Dude,
I mean, hey, Paul Pogba talked a lot of smack about Manchester United. We offered him big money to stay, and he flipped his finger at us, and he did nothing. And by the way, he got popped for PEDs. So yeah.
He got offered $10 million by Ed Woodward, and he took 6 to go to
out of spite, because he just wanted to prove that United sucks. Like that was and the
that is amazing.
Where are the Paul Pogba defenders at?
They're there.
Now?
Don't worry.
They're there. I don't know. I know. So we'll see what I think. Sancho might spark something, and I hope he does.
Nah.
We need some we got to be able to sell Sancho or Ante or somebody. So on Jordan Henderson. Him coming back from Saudi Arabia, he was a big, he was big into
the rainbow laces,
the rainbow laces. And then he took the big Saudi money and totally obviously morally bankrupt scouse bastard Jordan Henderson. Everything he's ever said, sold it down the river for a big check from the Saudis. Goes there, then he says, I'm actually going there to enforce change. So then it was a big PR campaign about how no, I didn't take the money because I'm morally bankrupt. I took the money because I'm gonna help change Saudi Arabia, and then wants to come back to England in 6 months, and that's just Jordan Henderson, don't like you, scouse bastard, get gone. Enjoy that Saudi money. I hope it was worth it.
Hope it was worth it. Here's the thing. This is what I've learned is if you just be straight with people, they'll respect you a lot more. Whether it's Eric Ten Hag bluffing us and bullshitting us, or it's one of these players going to Saudi Arabia or the Middle East or going to Qatar for top dollar, right? Who is the guy from Wolves that we were attached to forever? Neves. He's like, listen, this is setting my family up for life, so that's why I'm going. Just be fucking honest. You're going to play in front of 900 people, less than a League 2 side, because they're going to pay you dollar bills, y'all. That's it. Be honest.
All right, jumping down to fan questions at Country Esquire. Wow, turns out a handful of Lucky McTominay goals in stoppage time weren't predictive of future output. Maybe this means he'll be on the bench for Spurs. I like the lad fine, but no value add in build up, and can't defend. Bring only in case of emergency. That's a great point for Spurs. At Hitman RC89, a win is a win. This is probably you under a burner account. Maydew and Garnacho continue to look great. At this point, we need to see more of the other kids as well. What are the chances we get a solid striker this window? I like Hoyland, but we need someone clinical to put these types of games away early. What are the odds we get a solid striker this window?
Solid striker? Define solid striker. What does that mean? Does that mean an Odio, an Igalo, as a Cavani, like an old washed up, used to be elite player? Or does this mean like a Wout Weghorst, never had nothing, never will have nothing, and basically just
solid striker would be Timo Werner plus?
Like Choupo-Moting? Is Choupo-Moting better or worse than Timo Werner?
That would be solid striker.
Yeah, like there's a chance. I think unless they can move off some real weight this window, like get rid of a Martial for peanuts, I don't think we're getting anybody. So I think
how we didn't loan another striker at the beginning of the year is perplexes me.
Well,
that
Glazers,
just like
Glazers.
blows me away. Like the we went with Martial and Hoyland. Nothing against them, but you need another one. And the problem was that Rashford was that other one, but you have to play on the left. At Jackboard86 positive, I'm all in on buying Manu stock. He's the real deal. Negative, no goals from any of our attacking players from open play against Wigan. Yikes. Jack, I think he just summed up the pod in one tweet. It took us almost an hour to get here. Thank you for doing that. At MHersey5, quote, what an amazing match for Garnacho and Manu. The young lads are absolutely the future of Manchester United. Little worrying that we only scored 2 goals when our XG was like 78. On to the next one. At Bleeding Reds SD11, last tweet here. Sirs, it's going to be nice hearing your angelic voices, but what is seriously going on with Rashford? The guy gets his payday and now just doesn't care anymore. It's frustrating watching him because you want him to be a legend, but I'm not sure anymore. Stop with the hair color. What do you think?
I've you know me, man. I have a couple favorites. Like he was always a player I really liked. But then like a month ago, we saw him dipping his head, not running back. I remember there's one game, I can't remember who we were playing against. He came off the bench for like 10 minutes, and the team that was on the field for 90 had been running their asses off, and he came on and was jogging around. And that for me is inexcusable for any player that's playing for Manchester United, let alone one that's making $300,000 a week. So I don't know, man. It's like we talked about maybe you need to get rid of him, trade him while you can, but I don't think we talked about this. I don't think Ratcliffe's going to cut deep enough, and they're definitely not going to get rid of Marcus Rashford. And I want him to succeed, but like whoever the next manager is, whether it's Tuchel, whether it's De Zerbi, whether it's some other guy, their ethos will ultimately be built on players have to be willing to work hard. There's no way we will succeed in the Premier League in the next decade plus if players are not willing to work their asses off. And if you don't fit into that equation, no matter who the manager is, then you don't have a place at Manchester United in my mind.
But how is it that, and I'm going to say something that you're just going to come out of the gate storming on. You're going to get fired up.
I ain't saying nothing.
You know, fire's rising here with Bane. How is it that Jadon Sancho can get cooked by this manager for not trying and training, but Rashford ain't trying on the pitch during a game? We can all see it, and the manager doesn't cook the man. He doesn't say it. Like, why is that? That is a double standard, no?
We don't know the full details, and also like there could be different degrees of bad. Like maybe he doesn't work hard, but like maybe Jadon Sancho's performance was so bad that it was even outside the pay. Like he gave him 3 months off. Have you ever heard of a manager?
I didn't ask that. I didn't ask that.
But I'm answering that. You asked me a question. I'm answering the question. I'm saying why is he not afforded the same liberty that Rashford has? Maybe he hasn't earned it. Like one scored 30 goals last year. One got 3 months off and still couldn't stay in shape. So that's
But
it.
all the players see it, dude. So the idea is if you're this, you gotta try hard, or I'm dropping you, and I'm the hard-nosed Dutchman, and Rashford ain't trying hard. It's like
he did get dropped last month.
He did, but that was after like a few of them. So like it has been the Rashford saga has been strange. Don't know the full picture, like you said. It's like for me seeing him not try, it's been like
It's tough.
Visible and multiple times. And that's not Marcus, like I do know that something's going on, and we obviously don't have eyes and ears in the locker room. We won't understand it until it all leaks at the end of the year. I know this game.
It's done.
I know
it
it's
happens
all
every
coming
time.
out.
Every time you fire a manager, it's all coming.
It
It's all
all
building
come
up.
out.
It's like
It's
building
really-
up. It's like the
it's
dam will
all-
break.
Something's going on, and then the new owners, and it's gonna be like a lot. Like, the new owners are horrible. The transition was horrible, and all this stuff. All we get is complaints and leaking and just absolute whinging in the
That's it.
press.
That's
It's like,
it, bro.
like
That's it.
So that's it. We'll probably get more of that, and
Enjoy
you
2024.
bet $1,000 to win the league. You'll get $500,000. That is a great return, sir. You heard it here. 500 times your money. Win the Premier League this year.
Let's put
go.
$100
It
down.
would be the greatest win of all time to win the league now.
I'll tell you what, he'd keep his job. He would certainly keep his job. He'd be a main man.
Manager, you're saying there's a chance.
I'll tell you what, he wins the
Hell,
league, bro. He should get he should get a 5-year contract. Anyway,
all right,
that's not
sir.
happening.
That's it. That's the podcast. Had a blast as usual. We'll be dropping the Tottenham preview podcast this Wednesday. Everyone have a great week. Support the podcast, patreon.com/America Red Devils, americareddevils.store for your merch, americaredevils.com. Sir, goes our top $10 last 7 days.
Number one, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, Los Angeles, California, Brooklyn, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Melbourne, Australia, Philadelphia, PA, Brooklyn, baby, New York, Miami, Florida, and last but not least, St. Louis, Missouri. Appreciate all the America Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you. Big game coming up on Sunday. Like John mentioned, we will have a new pod coming at you in a couple days to break down the preview for the Spurs game. Have a great week, and we will talk to you all soon.
I say trouble on the way.